What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of The Block is Hot. In this episode, we're actually going to dive deep into the worst thing that can happen in the NFT space, and that is being a victim of a rug pull. If you aren't familiar with the phrase rug pull, it essentially means that a project released, a bunch of people invested in that project, and then as soon as that project got all the money, they were like, hey, we'll see you guys later, we're deleting all of our socials, and yeah, thanks for the money. I personally haven't been a victim of a rug pull yet, and I say yet because no matter what we do, guys, there will always be situations where we get into rug pulls. Now, the big thing is there are different things that are in my personal checklist that help me ensure that this project is one to stay and isn't going to abandon us. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys my 5 different pieces of my checklist that I look for in every single project before investing. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, guys, I just randomly took this project, Timecodes DAO, out of CNFT calendar, and we're going to go over this project to see if it meets my checklist. The very first thing that I look for in any project is whether or not that project has a website and if that website looks good. As you can see here, guys, they do not have a website and they are launching in 3 days. I'm telling you guys right now that if a project does not have a website and they are launching before their website is out, then there is a 0% chance that I would ever give a single dollar to that project. There are no exceptions to this. It is incredibly easy and incredibly quick to make a website. And I don't care if they make up all these excuses, hey, we're gonna have smart contracts and all this stuff. They can at least have an informational website that is displaying all the information. The only exception to this rule is if this launch date was, let's say, April 15th, and they said, hey guys, we're gonna have our website out before the mint, but the website's gonna come out a little bit later. That is the only exception in my mind. But if they're minting before that website, you can guarantee that I will not be a part of that project. Sorry that I was going really in there, but this is a big deal, guys. There are a lot of projects like Ada Boys that just came out a couple of days ago where they had really good art. And I had someone in my Discord, hey, why didn't you say invest in this project? And you know what I told him? I said, hey, the reason I didn't invest in this project or bring it up is because they don't have a website. I will not be getting into these projects. I can't stress that enough. This is so easy to do that there is no excuse not to do that. And if they can't even do the bare minimum of having a website, then how are they ever going to be able to deliver on all these other more complicated and harder to achieve things? It's just a clear red flag to me. The second thing I look for is how long they've been around and working on their marketing before their release date. So for example, you can see here that they joined on January 2022, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scroll all the way down and I'm gonna see when their first post was. So their first post was on January 27th, which is good to me. That means that they've been marketing and posting for the last month and a half. A lot of times, a lot of these rug pulls simply started their account maybe 2 weeks ago. They make a couple posts, they do a couple giveaway posts, they get a lot of followers from that, and then all of a sudden they're launching. So I do like in this situation that they were at least around since January, late January, and that they've spent the last month and a half marketing rather than just this project coming out of nowhere. The second part of this is we have to see whether or not these followers are actually genuine. What you can do is you can copy their username, in this situation Timecodes DAO, and you can go to this website called sparkturo.com, and it actually has a fake follower tracker. So you can simply post that in here and you're going to be able to see this project. Now, a lot of different projects out there have a fake follower count of around 18.5%. So don't freak out if it's that high. Only freak out if it's above like 25 to 30%, because that means that they bought fake followers on purpose. If a project is buying fake followers, that is a big red flag when it comes to the integrity of the project, and I can no longer trust them because I have no idea what other shady stuff they're gonna do. The thing I like about this site as well is you're able to see which followers, like how many followers have an average quality, high quality, or low quality, and they also give you a Spark score of the overall engagement of these posts. So it seems like their overall engagement is not very high and they're only getting a 14 out of 100, which in my opinion is another red flag. Now, this project could be completely good and I don't know a lot about this project. I haven't jumped in the Discord yet. I want to stress that, guys. I am simply being completely honest with how I check projects. Another thing that I love to do is I love to hop in their Discord and see how many different emojis they're getting on these different posts. post. A lot of Discord members are fake and a lot of them are botted and they're really easy to purchase. So I like going on here and I like seeing how much genuine engagement they're getting on their different posts and their announcements. I also like seeing whether or not this server is being boosted. Having 93 boost is a lot of boost for a specific server and a specific project, and that gives me more confidence towards the hype of the project as well as how many people following are actually genuine. The next thing that I look for and what is really, really important in my opinion is the quality of art and how much art you can actually see. This project doesn't have a website, so I can't really see too much of their art, but they do have this one Twitter post where I'm able to see some of their pieces. Now they might have more stuff on the Discord, but this is something you have to check, guys. How much art can you actually see? Because they can have a few really good looking pieces, but if you only see a couple pieces of their art, then that should be a big red flag because maybe they paid someone on Fiverr to make 3 or 4 really good images and they haven't really taken the time to make a bunch of different layers. When I personally look at this project, I like how they're doing these different themes like Luffy from One Piece, you got, Naruto, and you've got Thor, stuff like that, little SpongeBob theme, but this is a flag in my opinion. These look custom made to these specific ones, and maybe they could have just made 9 of these. I don't really see how some of these layers would all translate. Like for example, if this is a layer that, changes your eye patch, and then you get Avatar the Airbender, I mean, it just seems weird to me. There doesn't seem to be a lot of layers here. Like it looks like you have a hat, and then maybe some clothing, maybe some sort of thing in your mouth, maybe some eyes, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like these layers would really go together. You got to think here, guys, with these PFP projects, they're not going to make each one individually. Maybe these are some special ones, but they're going to be putting a bunch of different layers inside a computer program that is going to randomly generate them. So the layers have to make sense. I mean, it wouldn't make sense to get, Kakashi's headband and mask and then not get Kakashi's body. But these are matching here. So that kind of gives me a red flag like, oh crap, did they just make the 9 of these and they didn't make a ton of other accessories? Because now all of a sudden, are you gonna have SpongeBob's shirt with Avatar the Airbender's, eyes and headpiece? Like, it just doesn't really make sense. The layers aren't adding up. But if you look at different projects and you actually get to see sneak peeks of the layers, then you can kind of picture how things are going to come together. These just seem way too specific to me, and that, once again, is a red flag for this project. The next big red flag to me, guys, is whether or not their team is doxxed, and if they aren't doxxed, whether or not they have personal Twitter accounts linked to their profiles. Now, I know a lot of accounts aren't doxxed, guys. I know a lot of these projects aren't doxxed, but this is something that really needs to happen in the future. We can't be giving $1 million to projects that aren't showing who they are. Like, this is just crazy to me that this is the point we're at with these NFTs. And I know there's different government policies all over the world, but the second that you have a team that isn't doxxed is the second where they can leave with zero accountability. Being doxxed is going to make you accountable. Knowing who the team is going to give you more confidence as an investor that they're actually going to be able to deliver on this stuff. If they aren't doxxed and they have their personal Twitter, check their personal Twitters to see if they have fake followers or real followers. If those Twitters that are linked actually have a lot of real followers and there's someone important in the community, whether or not their face and their name is known, then that's at least a big step up to not having anything at all. Whenever a project just has, little pictures with names on it and they're fake names, that's a huge red flag to me. Now, there's going to be a lot of good projects that do that, so don't necessarily just shun them out because of that, but that is a major flag that you guys really have to be thinking about. If they aren't doxxed, what are the likelihood that they actually follow through with this rather than just take the money and dip? Just to summarize here, the 5 major red flags I look for. Number 1, do they have a website? If they don't have a website, you couldn't pay me enough to mint their project. The second part of this is, does their website look good? The website is going to be a good indicator of the level of time and the expertise and skills and ability that that team has. If the website looks like it only took 20-30 minutes, then that should be a big red flag because they didn't put a lot of time into that. If they didn't put a lot of time into that, what else are they not going to put a lot of time into? The second thing is how long they've been around compared to when they're actually going to a mint. If a project just started marketing 2 weeks ago and they're already going to launch just 2 weeks later and they've only made a couple posts and most of those posts are giveaway posts, then that is a huge red flag to me because they just kind of came out of nowhere. You really want to be looking for projects, guys, that have been around for at least a month and a half and have really been taking their time with their marketing and have a bunch of different graphics and GIFs that they're posting. Whenever they don't have those sort of things, then that's a big red flag to me. If they're just posting a lot of giveaways, then that's a big red flag to me. You don't want to get into these projects that just came out of nowhere. That is a huge red flag. The next thing was making sure that their followers are actually genuine and that they're actually getting a good amount of engagement in both their Discord and their Twitter. If a project has a high fake follower count, then I would completely avoid that because you just can't trust them. The fourth thing was looking at their art and seeing if it looks like art that took a lot of time, seeing if the art is even displayed, and seeing if the art looks more like one-for-one pieces or if it looks more like a layered project. You need to look for evidence of those different layers because if you're not seeing how those different accessories and layers can go together, then there's a good chance that they just paid someone to make a couple pieces rather than doing like a legit project. And to finish off the list, guys, you need to take a look at their team. If their team isn't doxxed, then that has a higher level of risk than if their team is doxxed. If their team isn't doxxed, but at least has personal Twitters that have a good amount of followers, then that's at least a little bit less risk. If they have no Twitter followers and they have no one on their team listed, then that is a very high amount of risk in my opinion, and you got to be a lot more careful with that project and look for the other red flags in this video. Now, I want to wrap this up by saying something very important that I hope you guys are still here and I hope that you guys are listening. There will be projects that we really like. We like the concepts of them. We like the ideas of them. We might like, different aspects of the project. But I'm telling you guys right now that if a project has a bunch of red flags, you are much better off not minting that project and seeing what happens and then potentially investing in the future. So for example, there may or may not be a project releasing in just a few days here that is asking for a ridiculous amount of ADA and they don't even have a website yet and all of their posts were giveaways and their team isn't doxxed and all this stuff. There might be a project like that a lot of people might be interested in investing in because they like the idea of it. But you have to realize, guys, that it might be a better idea to take a step back if there's a bunch of red flags, wait until they drop, and then a lot of these mints haven't been doing good anyways, and then let's say it does slightly better, well now you at least know that it isn't going to be a rug pull, and that extra 10 to 15% you have to spend in the secondary market is going to be worth it, rather than you losing 100% of that mint price. So all that being said, I hope that you guys can follow some of this checklist, and I hope that it will reduce the amount of rug pulls that you find yourself getting in. There's a lot out there, and I know I'm eventually going to get hit with a rug pull, but I feel like this checklist is a very good starting place, and it's going to heavily reduce that number of rug pulls you guys get into. It at least has for me. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video or if you learned something, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and join our community Discord in the description. Hope everyone here has an awesome day.